It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com.
The Shepherd the Knucklehead celebrates two of man's greatest pursuits, craft beer and a hot meal.
When it comes to craft beer, they're all in. An incredible lineup of beers on tap, fed by rows of kegs in the basement. And they double down with a menu of apps, soups, seafood, and butchered on-site steaks. Everything scratch-made, local ingredients whenever possible.
Great place, great food, unbelievable beer selection, friendly staff, can't go wrong.
Craft beer, cocktails, food, classic and creative. Something for everyone. The Shepherd and the Knucklehead.
And it is another really interesting time because we are still fighting the coronavirus. So we would like to thank Richard Quinn and Rockland World Radio, Modern Metro, and Nyack Village Theater, all of the entities, as well as the Shepherd and the Knucklehead, by the way, for continuing to sponsor us. We got some news this week, largely with Tom Brady going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which nobody would have saw coming, at least not until recently, and not to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And we'll see what's going to happen with the New England Patriots quarterback. We'll try to figure out when, the sports can resume. So, without further ado, here's Kevin Galbreth.
Yeah, it's been of course, we're still living in this unprecedented time with all sports shut down, and we shall see, when anything will resume. But, meanwhile, we do have some big headlines, though, with, the NFL off-season rumors are now really have become reality, with the big one being, Tom Brady not returning to the Patriots and signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers instead. So, after 20 years, 20 years of together, Tom Brady and the Patriots, they have finally, split up. How about that? Who would have ever thought you'd see him wearing another team's uniform?
Yeah, I think it's a silly move for him. It's a bad move. He would have just stayed with the Patriots till he retires.
Right, and do you think it's a silly move for the Patriots to not want to give him what he was asking for? I think it was because they couldn't come to an agreement on a new contract, him and the Patriots. Do you think they're silly for not giving him what he was asking for?
No, not necessarily, because, I don't know if, the truth is, if they don't really have anybody else to back them up, then maybe they are a little bit silly. Because, what now with this, you're not going to find, franchise quarterbacks don't come around every day. So,
right, and now they're bringing in journeyman Brian Hoyer as their new quarterback right now. Of course, I'm sure they're thinking of him as a bridge guy, but he's a journeyman, which means he's a quarterback who might fail to make it as a long-term starter with other teams. So, I don't know. So, of course. Then again, Bill Belichick being the coaching master, grandmaster coaching that he is, really the genius that he is, might think he can convert, Brian Hoyer from a journeyman into a serviceable franchise quarterback. If anybody can do that, it is probably Bill Belichick. If anybody can do that.
Yeah, indeed. No doubt about it. Parcells and Belichick, they've done stuff like that before. So.
Yeah, that's what Parcells did with Vinny Testaverde in '98, and then had Parcells getting the career season out of Vinny Testaverde in '98, and Bill Belichick also, the year Tom Brady tore his ACL, in week one. You know, they want to win them 111 games with Matt Castle, their backup. So yeah, it's an interesting question right now. Even though they don't really have a reputable quarterback right now, would you nominate the Patriots as still the favorites to win the AFC East next year? That's a good question. I think that can be debated.
Right. Well, I mean, let's see. You also have the Buffalo Bills, who are really on the rise, and you also have the Miami Dolphins, who can, well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Miami Dolphins, they might have built the type of team that might be able to do it too. And I mean, even the Jets, if Sam Darnold takes the next leap this year, they're a team that also has won, that could have won 10 games this year. So when you think about everything after that, that if he takes a leap this year, it's not out of the question.
Yeah, it does make the AFC East definitely a lot more open. But if I had to nominate like two teams that I pick as the favorites, I would say it's between the New England. I'd say it's still between the Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. If it's not going to be the Patriots, I'd probably pick the Buffalo Bills as the team because they continue to improve, and most people I think are expecting that Josh Allen will make another leap this year.
Yeah. Well, the Jets went one. The Jets went 6-2, second half of the year. So, if they could pull that for a full season, that's 12-4. So. Yeah,
but in general, I think Buffalo was a better team this past year, and they're probably still a better team. Like the Jets haven't done anything yet to really surpass that would put them in free agency that would make them surpass Buffalo. So Buffalo was the better team last year, and really not much has changed. But I think you got to say they're still the better team right now.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, has there been any off-season acquisitions yet?
Well, the Jets have made a few that are kind of to the offensive line, and they're considered like okay, not bad, but not really, like wowing signings either. They're like kind of none of the guys the Jets have signed are considered like real flashy big name guys, but they are guys who really could have the potential to be good still and helping the team. It does seem like Joe Douglas's strategy in contrast in the Cagmans is to really not spend too much on the flashy big name guys but instead make like these smaller investments in guys who are who could be good, but yeah, they're lower risk, you can say, lower risk investments, because they're guys who will probably be good, decent contributors, but they're not like top-notch stars,
Mm-hmm.
But you could potentially build a team with guys like that. You don't necessarily need the top-notch stars and big-name flashy guys to build a team.
Especially with a quarterback like Sam Darnold, who could kind of, throw on the run and everything like that. Is pretty mobile. So,
yeah.
That's, so yeah, I mean, he doesn't really need a great offensive line. But, yeah, I mean, an upgrade to the offensive line, that could potentially be big. If it's...
I don't know. All the guys they signed, I think, are considered moderate upgrades, but not like major upgrades.
Right. Well, I mean, in a way, all I think they really need is moderate upgrades.
Yeah.
Because with a quarterback like Sam Darnold, as long as he's not running for his life, Sam Darnold's okay. He really is. So.
Right, and time will tell, really, which if Joe Douglas's strategy works out any better, only time will tell. It is. But you can make a case for it because it was like, Mike McCagnon likes to go for the big name, flashy players, and most of the signings he made really didn't work out long term.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, like when he brought Revis back in 2015, he only had like 1 year left of being an elite. Little did he know, it was like he only had 1 year left of being an elite corner.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, they also brought in another cornerback, I think, as well.
Yeah, and all the guys they brought in are kind of like middle-range guys. They're decent, slightly above average guys, but not like, but definitely far from any real flashy stars.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, that could definitely help. I mean, I mean, it's not necessarily the flashy stars that you necessarily need.
Right, and the economics of every sport does talk about finding undervalued talent that you don't have to pay. The economics of every sport says look for undervalued talent that you pay, and you end up underpaying than overpaying for them. And I think that is kind of Joe Douglas' strategy here, and that's what Bill Belichick, I think, has done so well through all the years, is finding undervalued talent that he ends up underpaying rather than overpaying.
Right, yeah, and that's why some of those people end up bouncing around. Once they make a name in, New England or somewhere else, they might end up going somewhere else, like Wes Welker. Didn't he go to the Denver Broncos, actually, or something?
It's true, a lot of them, once they really gain stardom in New England, they end up going to another team.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen, but, that's a good way to do it, though, in a way, so.
Right, yeah, sometimes bringing in the big-name flashy guys, spending the big bucks on that is overrated, because then if they get injured, or if they don't work out, or if they don't play at an elite level for as long as you're hoping for them to, it ends up being a lot of wasted money that puts you back in the salary cap.
Right, yeah, like Darrell Reeves.
Yeah, like that was a real bust. He still could play at an elite level in 2015, and that's what helped. And definitely that helped them win 10 games that year. But after that year, he just couldn't play anymore the way he used to.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, and it was kind of a shame, because that 1 year was that turned out to be their opportunity to make a run with those guys. But it didn't quite happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then
as of right now, I would have to say it's between New England and it's more open. Like, it really could be any of the 4 teams in the AFC East, but I would say it's between New England and Buffalo to win the division this year. I would likely say if it's not going to be New England, it'll be Buffalo.
Yeah, that's true. But what about the Miami Dolphins?
Yeah, they could make a leap too. It's hard to really be thinking of them as a playoff division contender, though, when they're coming off of a 4-12 season. Of course, that them going 4-12 was really exceeding expectations. I think they were picked in preseason as like a 1-15, or even 0-16 team, much like the 2017 Jets, who were 5-11, was actually exceeding expectations, considering that some people were picking them in preseason to be 0-16, and same was the case with the Miami Dolphins this past year.
Right. Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. But I mean, after going 4-12, it's hard to picture them going,
Right, of course, it's the National Football League, though, so, teams do. It isn't uncommon for teams to go from worst to first or first to worst. That happens most in the NFL, I feel like. Yep. There. Dan, are you talking to me there? Oh. Sorry to our listeners. It looks like we're having some technical difficulties here.
Wait, no, I'm here.
Okay, yeah, I was waiting till you were in saying you weren't responding, and sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, it would be hard to picture the Dolphins as well, but the Jets, yeah, if they continue at the same rate and they got even a little bit better, they could get 12, 13 wins. But
I doubt that. I'd say I'll be happy if they get 9 or 10 wins.
Yeah.
And especially considering at this point, it seems unlikely that they're going to re-sign Robbie Anderson. I mean, Robbie Anderson hasn't signed with another team yet, but he also hasn't re-signed with the Jets, and it doesn't seem like re-signing him is one of the Jets' priorities.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And that would be a big potential loss. I mean, unless they get somebody else, another team.
Yeah.
That would be that would be a big loss. So.
Yeah, because I guess the market. I think the Jets. I do sort of understand where the Jets are coming from. Like, I guess they feel like they would be overpaying, considering what he's asking for. They'd feel like they'd be overpaying him if they give him what he's asking for. But at the same time, it's like there's I don't know how much how many really good high-profile receivers there are on the market, or supposedly the draft is supposed to be, deep with wide receivers is the good news this year. But yeah, I mean, can a rookie wide receiver really make an immediate impact?
Yeah, well, OBJ did.
That's true. OBJ did, and of course, yeah, we got one thing also to note about Joe Douglas is he's somebody who definitely values like a foundation over the skilled positions more. Like the offensive line is kind of what I think his philosophy is definitely offensive line first before worrying about skilled positions.
Right, yeah, because I mean that could make a mediocre receiver look pretty good.
Yeah, and it's true. If you have a good offensive line, you're gonna, a mediocre receiver could end up making a lot of big plays. Look really good, making a lot of big plays if you have an offensive line that gives your quarterback all day to find him open and throw to him, and then all he has to do focus on is catching the ball.
Right. Yeah. I mean that extra second or two is really big. But even that extra second or two is really big in the end.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and overall, I'd say I agree with Joe Douglas's philosophy of offensive line first, but I just hope he gets these signings and these draft picks right. That's the key thing. It's like one thing to bring in guys who are supposed to upgrade your offensive line, but you better be right, about the guys you're bringing in. And the Jets have a long track record with all their GMs of not being right about the guys they bring in from both draft and free agency.
Right, yeah, well, yeah, that's true. So, they better be a little right, and it's also not good to lose the people that you have already.
Right. No, it's inevitable in the National Football League. That's kind of why you see teams, fortunes change from season to season a lot, because most teams lose about a third of their roster, and you usually have to have one or two players that they'd rather walk because of where the salary cap is structured.
Right. Yeah. Because the skill positions are costly too. Some of them.
Yeah, I'm sure that's you end up spending more money on to hide the big name flashy guys at the film position.
Right. Yeah. Indeed. So, yeah, it is very interesting. So, it's gonna be.
The other thing I say, like, why I don't have much confidence that the Jets are really going to be a team to make another next year is the head coach itself. I definitely like the head coach of Buffalo, Sean McDermott, a lot more than I do Adam Gates with the Jets. I don't have much confidence in Adam Gates as a head coach. Is another big reason why I'm not too optimistic for this year being the year the Jets finally make a leap.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they did get better. I mean, the second half of the year, but they also had a fairly easy schedule in a way.
Right, a fairly easy schedule, and also, yeah, and you gotta, and like, okay, they showed the ability to win games when they weren't under pressure, when it was like, when it was like the games didn't mean anything. Can they win games under pressure?
Right.
When there's actual things at stake,
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
I mean, yeah, I do actually think that Adam Gase is maybe marginally better than Todd Bowles, but I would say marginally is a key word there.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, yeah, most of their wins, and they still had that very ugly loss to the Cincinnati Bengals in the second half of the year too. So.
Right? They lost to a winless. They still lost to a winless Cincinnati Bengals team in the second half of the year, and were one of only two teams, and ended up being one of only two teams to lose to Cincinnati.
Right. Yeah. Indeed. So. Yeah. So.
They lost. Yeah, well, this was the first half of the season. They lost to two winless teams, so they were also the first team to lose to the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. Twice. Too bad.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, they twice lost to a winless team, so that's why, I don't have much confidence that Adam Gase, that's really where what it comes down to, is I think Joe Douglas might be able to put together a good roster, but I don't have much confidence in the head coach being able to properly use the roster, put the good roster to good use.
Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. Indeed. And that's that is kind of tough. I mean, the defense really, the big thing is, Greg Williams. And I mean, they really did look good the last half of the year.
Yeah, I don't say it's out of the question, but I see them more as like realistically their upper limit being like 9-7 or 10-6 as opposed to like 11-5 or 12-4 like you were suggesting. I see them more likely being like a best case scenario, maybe a 9-7 or 10-16.
Yeah. And I mean, truth is, I think that's probably a lot more likely.
Yeah.
So, and of course, I mean, even if they do have a successful season, I still don't think I'd be sold on Adam Gates, really.
I will say, and I'll also say, one thing I'll also say is I think they have a better chance of having a competitive season than the Giants do. What do you think there? I think the Jets have a better chance of having a competitive season than the Giants.
Yeah. In a way, that's true. I mean, the Giants' defense just really needs way too much work.
Yeah, I think the Giants are actually closer. there are some things the Giants have going for them that I say are big things to have going for them for the future, and may make them in better shape long term for them the Jets. And that is I do think Daniel Jones is going to be a franchise quarterback. He was a part of it, and I also based on you've got to see him coach games yet, but based on how his philosophy and what he talked about in his press conference, I would say I have confidence that Joe Judge is going to be. I have definitely more confidence in him as a head coach than I do Adam Gase. So that's why I say the Giants may be better set up for long-term success than the Jets are. But in the immediate future, I think they're more likely to see the Jets, be a team that makes noise in a playoff race.
Sure. Well, I mean, I also do have confidence in Sam Darnold. I think he's going to be the franchise quarterback.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think overall I'm cautiously optimistic about it. But I'd say that the big problem is the head coach matters a lot in football, and I do not have confidence in the Jets head coach.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think they're necessarily set up for long-term success right now. I think I could see them more likely, like maybe having a competitive season this year than typical. But then a couple years from now, as we're used to doing, we'll be saying, "Hey, we'll Jets again."
Yeah.
And that's the time, and that might be the very time when we'll finally see the Giants, make noises in the Super Bowl race again.
Right? Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. Well, if Sam Darnold gets the coronavirus, do you think the Jets are cursed?
Well, he wouldn't be the only one to get it, so hard to necessarily say that, so far the only known NFL person to be test positive for it is actually a head coach Sean Payton, has tested positive for coronavirus.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, where it's been the biggest epidemic is in the NBA. The most notable one who tested positive recently was Kevin Durant.
Oh, wow. Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, fortunately, these are young, healthy people who can survive. I wonder if when the NFL players get it, if it's going to affect them this coming season. It depends, I guess.
It depends. Yeah, it probably could. And, and yeah, that's why, of course, as we're talking about all this stuff, it's really, I think it is a legitimate question of will there be a 2020 season?
Right, yeah. I mean, really, they need to, a vaccine is going to be like a year and a half away, so, a medicine to slow the virus might be somewhat sooner, because I've heard that they've been doing trials and stuff like that. So
trials, and they estimate they won't be able to come up with the vaccine until at least the end of the year, so that's why some people are saying this could go on for 18 months, and in sports right now, you're really beginning to question if there necessarily will be a 2020 MLB and NFL season.
Right. Well, I mean, of course, if they have if they have a medicine for it sooner, maybe, the vaccine might be a year and a half, but if they have a medicine that's kind of where it's not, it makes it where the disease is treatable, where it's not deadly, then maybe it could, be earlier. So, so who knows, but yeah, because now if you get it, it's a big deal. Yeah, I mean, I think that comparatively, I mean, really remember that very few people actually get the coronavirus. So comparatively, the percentages are very low. So,
well, I don't know about that. I'd say a lot of people are getting it. The percentages of people who die from it are fairly low. It's like mostly the it's mostly like older people or people who have other pre-existing health complications. That tend to be most at risk for it being fatal. But it does seem like with how rapidly it's spreading, a lot of people are getting it.
Yeah, they're getting it, but I mean, the latest, the numbers I was seeing like yesterday is like 22,000 people have this. But in this country, I mean, but remember, there's over 300 million people in the country, so that's relatively a low percentage.
Right. Yeah, relatively low percentage, and the death percentage is even lower. But it's high. It's high for something like for a disease like this. It's like if you're older and have health problems, that's when there is a good chance if you get it, you will die from it.
Right. Yeah. And yeah. I mean, definitely, no doubt. And I mean, the fact that there's 22,000 cases and counting is definitely enough to take these measures so it doesn't spread even more. But of course, remember, comparatively, it's actually only a small percentage of people who get it. So if Sam Donald gets it, I say that deaths are definitely good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, especially if it affects him during football season. So, but, I mean,
right, yeah, where the biggest epidemic has been the NBA. Like, you see big name players the first real big name player to get it was Kevin Durant now.
Right, yeah. And, yeah, I mean, I wonder how they're doing exactly, some of those players. And yeah,
right, I think they said at least 4 Nets players tested positive for it. There were 4 players on the Nets.
Wait, somebody on the Nets, you said?
I think 4 players on the Nets tested positive for coronavirus.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
One of them being Kevin Durant. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Who was just about to get healthy for another season, For a season.
Yeah, he wasn't even playing. He was rehabbing all season for his ruptured Achilles.
Right. Yeah. And now he gets the coronavirus.
Yeah.
So, just the luck. Just that luck, So,
yeah. Well, it wasn't good. I don't know how much that's really gonna affect him because next year he should be okay by then because the season is he wasn't gonna play this year anyway.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hopefully, hopefully. Mm-hmm. It also depends on how severe they have it and stuff too, potentially. So yeah. So that could be one of the things, because some cases I think are very mild, but some of it are very severe.
Yeah.
Interesting, right?
Yeah, the more severe cases do tend to, I think, be in more the older population or people who have pre-existing health problems.
Right. Well, that definitely compounds things. Yeah.
Yeah.
With some of the. So yes, for some of the older people.
Yeah.
That definitely compounds things. It is what it is, Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. So what was I saying? Yeah. Yeah. It's really we're just kind of riding out, the storm until that goes away. I mean, waiting for sports to get back online, basically.
And we're hoping it's not going to be as long as 18 months for some people, picture or predicting,
Right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's unprecedented. I mean, nobody really knows how long this is going to go. But, yeah, nobody really knows.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, it looks like most likely the NBA and NHL season are going to be done. I mean,
It's like a long shot because they're going to, have an NHL and NBA playoff. But, yeah, and then some people are talking about the possibility of them, basically making the playoffs be in the summer instead of the spring this year, and like having it be the NBA finals be in like August. But then they'd have to really like permanently, I think, change the schedule from the NBA season. Make it be like from December and January to August instead of October to June. So I'm not sure if the NBA is really going to want to do that.
right, yeah, and I mean for basketball and fans are going to a gym to watch the games. That's a pretty important time. Like October, November, December. Those are pretty important months, I think, because I mean those are pretty good months for basketball when the weather's kind of getting kind of lousy, especially at night.
Right, because especially considering basketball is an indoor sport, it's like meant to be played more in the colder weather months, with it being an indoor sport, and then in the summer when it gets really hot, it's like more the time for outdoor sports.
Yeah, I mean really, by May and June, I think a lot of people are kind of done almost with that.
People would rather be outside, so you're not going to get you probably won't get as many viewers in the summer.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So they're kind of done by that. So yes. What do it's now it's just waiting. I mean, same thing. I mean, hockey in a way. Now hockey's a little bit different because in a way they could actually be. Summer is actually a kind of nice time to be on ice in a way.
Well, and of course, because it's played on ice, people do think of it as a winter sport, probably more than a summer sport.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But also, I mean, it is such a relief to be on ice in the summer when it's very hot out. It really is. But of course, I mean, that's also going to make it where air conditioning and everything is going to be a lot more and stuff. It takes a lot more to keep those stadiums cool as well.
Yeah, so that's why it seemed like it is tough to picture them really, pulling it off, doing the playoffs in the summer and making that be like the new normal.
Right, yeah. So most likely it looks like this is kind of a wash. Yeah.
Like things go really well and they end up being clear to come back like in a month or two. Then I could maybe see them the NBA what I would say the NBA should do, maybe if they're cleared to play again in the middle of May, is just skip ahead to skip right to the playoffs and limit the playoffs to 4 teams per conference rather than 8, because the first rounds are really kind of, like who cares anyway, because the top seeds are going to win in advance. It's like, and most likely the 7-8 seeds are going to be like swept, out of the first round. So it's like really you can see. I think a lot of people feel like we could do without the first round in the NBA playoffs, especially.
Yeah, that may be true. That definitely, that often is true. Actually, that it's very rare the 7 and 8 teams win, but then again, when it does happen, it is, very, very exciting. Or even if they don't win, if they just make it competitive, that's very, very exciting. But, yeah, I don't know. It's hard, it's difficult.
Many of those teams are even below 500 teams. They feel like that feels like, it's why a lot of people, I think, why the NBA struggles to get in fans these days as much as they used to, because it's like mediocre teams are like in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, kind of like with you and the Golden State Warriors, it seemed like 4 years in a row it was going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors. So, and that's kind of what it became. So, in that sense, it was very.
This year, of course, is a little different in that there is more like open competition this year, and that there's like maybe the top 4 teams from each conference. I'd say are legitimate. You can make a case for legitimate championship contenders. So it's a little different that way this year. Normally, it's like only the top seeds. The top seeds are probably it's going to be between one of the top seeds to win it all. But this year, there is a little bit. Things are a little more open than they normally are, with no team really being the hands-down favorite to win it all.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, in previous years, you almost could have just said, let's just do the best team in the Eastern Conference against the best team in the Western Conference. And for 4 years in a row, that's kind of what happened with the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. But it's a little bit different.
I'd say maybe you could, for many years there, you could fast forward to like the conference finals. You knew like one of the top teams in either conference was going to pull it off, was going to win the conference. So say you can like just fast forward to the conference finals.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we still pretty much knew that it was going to be the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, it was the Rockets and the Spurs never really had a chance.
All right. Well, the Rockets gave the Warriors a good run for their money, especially not last year, but the year before. When they like the one that went to 7 games.
Right.
And in 2016, the Oklahoma City Thunder also gave the Warriors a really good run for their money in the conference finals. They were up 3-1. The Warriors had to come back from being down 3-1 to win that series.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, you had a feeling that the Warriors were gonna, somehow do it. And they.
Yeah. No. I think people were trying to write them off after they fell behind 3-1 in that series.
Yeah. Really? You think?
Yeah.
You thought they were done?
Yeah, because the odds, the percentages of teams that have come back from being down 3-1 is really low.
Yeah, but it's the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I was that worried. I had a feeling that they were going to come back and win. So, just because of the Golden State Warriors. I mean, I pretty much predicted it 4 years in a row that, it'll be the Golden State Warriors against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And you could pretty much just fast forward to the finals. Remember that? I was saying that, Kev?
Yeah, yep.
So, but, well, I mean, this year, like you said, it's a little bit more wide open, so,
right. Well, I kind of felt like 2 years ago, I'll say, in the 2017-2018 season, so not last year, but the year before, that the conference finals, the Western Conference finals between the Rockets and the Warriors was as good as the NBA finals, because might as well have been the NBA finals, because I think it was well known. Cleveland was pretty outmatched that year, so it was pretty well known that, whoever won that series was going to win the championship. And so that was really, and the Warriors did go on to sweep Cleveland in the finals after winning that series. So it felt like they're the Western Conference Finals. Rockets Warriors was actually the real finals.
Right. Well, I mean, they were all a little bit more competitive. The Western Conference has been a little bit more competitive, really, since Jordan left, I guess, almost. But Was it?
Yeah, generally, yeah. But generally, with the exception of, when the team that wins the West is usually the favorite to win the whole thing. Maybe with the exception of the years when LeBron James was in Miami with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. They were like the one Eastern Conference powerhouse team.
Right. Yeah. With Pat Riley building that team and making the Knicks look like boneheads.
Right. I don't think any of the years when LeBron was in Cleveland were they considered as. I don't think they were ever considered as much of a super team as that Miami as Miami was when he was in Miami.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That was some team, wasn't it? That was some team.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been a good one to go up against the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, that team never did. Yeah, the Golden State Warriors really rose to being the power team after LeBron went back to Cleveland. So we never saw the Golden State Warriors go up against that team.
Yeah, and I mean, it was really LeBron James almost single-handedly making the Cleveland Cavaliers very good in a way.
Right. Yeah, and they were never I think anywhere near as like the hands down favorites to win it all the way Miami was when he was in Miami.
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, of course, he was basically the guy in the Cleveland. Yeah, I mean, he basically won a championship just really being the only superstar in a way. Actually. Yeah.
Well, no, okay, Kyrie. You got to count Kyrie Irving too was a superstar. He had Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love, and you got to count them too, especially Kyrie Irving.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but didn't he kind of make didn't he win the championship without that?
No. They won the championship. It was Kyrie Irving. It was with Kyrie Irving. Well, yeah, Kyrie Irving got injured that year they lost. They lost in 6 games to the Warriors when the Warriors won their first championship, and then LeBron James actually single-handedly made the series competitive, and the series was a lot more competitive than people thought it would be. But then a year later, it was with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love healthy that they won it all. That they beat the Warriors in the finals.
Right. Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. That's interesting.
And then after that was when Kevin Durant went to the Warriors, and that was what the Warriors really over the top and really made it so that Cleveland was that outmatched by the Warriors,
Right, yeah.
Once Kevin Durant went to the Warriors, there was no stopping them,
Right, yeah. When Kevin Durant went to the Warriors. Yeah. They were good then, even though they won 73 games before he went there. But.
Yeah, and that was the year they lost. And of course, that was the year they lost to Cleveland in 7 games.
Which is crazy when you think about it.
Yeah.
Because it is true, Kyrie Irving was there, and now Kyrie Irving is on the Nets.
Yeah, so... Yeah, they didn't really... Well, yeah, they didn't really play well together after years, I guess. Well, I think Kyrie Irving didn't want to... was new that LeBron was getting ready to leave for the Lakers, so that was why he kind of felt disgruntled.
Right, yeah. He didn't want LeBron James to leave for the Lakers.
Right, well, I think it was kind of a sort of a screwed up situation where LeBron was having so much control over the team, even though he wasn't even though he wasn't planning on being there for much more than one more season, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because didn't he push for a coaching change and everything too?
Yeah, they changed coaches mostly thanks to him, you know.
Yeah. And he wasn't even going to be there.
Right. When he was at that point. They changed coaches after a few years before he left. But I think it was like they were giving him too much say over the team, you know, for somebody who wasn't going to be there for the rest of his career, you know.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That definitely, that definitely makes sense. You know, what are you gonna do? You know,
Yeah.
that happens. So, that's what are you gonna do? But, what was I saying? Yeah, it's basically the past is kind of what is featuring on all the sports channels and stuff now. It seems like the best games that have already been played and stuff, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's what all the channels that were. It was supposed to be the first weekend of March Madness, you know, the NCAA tournament, and all the channels that were scheduled to be showing NCAA tournament games were showing old NCAA tournament games, classic games from previous years.
Right. Yeah, that's what would be going on if there still was. You know.
Yeah. And I think one of the games they showed was a good one to show, which was, you know, your 1982 national championship game between Georgetown and North Carolina, and that was featuring Michael Jordan versus Patrick Ewing when they were both freshmen in college. And,
yeah, that must have been. Yeah, that is something. That is some game.
Because they played against each other in the. It was like funny they played against each other in the national championship game in their freshman year of college, and then became big NBA rivals after that.
And did Patrick? I mean, and then did Michael Jordan leave after his junior year or something?
Patrick Ewing stayed for the full 4 years at Georgetown, but Michael Jordan left went pro after his junior year.
Right, and that's part of the reason that Patrick Ewing was the first pick in the draft.
Right, because although they were in the same class in school, they weren't in the same draft class because Michael Jordan left a year early.
Right. Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. And that's why they went different draft classes, and because I remember when Patrick Ewing was the first round, the first,
Right, he was the clear first round. He was the clear first pick, like everyone, like he was obvious. He was like the clear first choice, of every team,
Yeah, and he went to the New York Knicks.
Right.
Yeah, he was their big prize.
And controversially, kind of remember the draft lottery. It was the first year in which they had a draft lottery, and the Knicks ended up with the first pick, even though they didn't have the worst record.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That was something. And the Bulls got Michael Jordan the year before.
Yeah, they got it with the third pick rather than the first pick, since the first pick in that draft was actually Hakeem Olajuwon.
Right. Yeah. And that was big. That was actually, that was big. Yeah.
Yeah, but wasn't actually necessarily the clear number one pick. I mean, he was, and well, I think it was like, I think a lot of people had him rated as the best player in that draft class, but I think it was a case where you couldn't argue with Hakeem Olajuwon being the number one pick either.
Right. Well, it was still somewhat of an era of big men too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's why, yeah, and that's why he wasn't pick number one, because the teams that were picking first and second were the teams that needed centers more than guards.
Right. Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. Indeed. Right. So, yeah. So they picked Hakeem Olajuwon that year.
The Houston Rockets had the number one pick that year, and they picked Hakeem Olajuwon.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he was the number one pick that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the number one pick that year. So, which is kind of wild. What? Yeah. And Michael Jordan ended up with the Chicago Bulls, which was a good place to be, really, especially even more so at that time, you know. So, it was a good place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it really built his brand. Because New York, LA, Chicago. So he was the third biggest media market. So.
Yeah, New York, LA, Chicago. Yeah, those are like the three biggest media, places, especially back then.
Right. Yeah. Now it doesn't really matter where you are. You could be in Cleveland, and you can make a brand for yourself.
Yeah.
Since everything is 24/7, it doesn't really have the cachet it used to be. Yeah. It doesn't really have the cachet it used to be. Yeah. Yeah, but now we're just kind of at a standstill. I mean, this is basically old games and stuff are what people are watching generally, but it does give us a time to kind of reflect on sports history in a way.
Yeah, the old games are definitely like the classic games. Can be for people who are real historians of the sport. Can be fun to watch for people who are real life historians of the sport.
Yeah.
History is definitely important in every sport.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and I mean, there've been a lot of great games played that really, might be worth revisiting in a way. So, I haven't really watched any of them yet, but one I would definitely watch if they put it on was Syracuse's, national championship win over Kansas back in 2003. With Carmelo Anthony. Yeah, that would be a fun one to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one where Syracuse, beat Kansas 81-78 in the national championship game.
Yeah, that would be a fun one to see. I mean, even the Yankees in the 70s. I mean, I don't know how far back they're going to go with some of these. Probably not much farther back than that. But the Yankees in 78 and 77, 77, 78, those would be good ones to watch.
Or some old 98, 99 Yankee games, the years I grew up watching them.
That's true. Yeah. Now those are classics.
Yeah.
Some of those old Knicks games and stuff too. From the 70s or even the 90s.
Yeah.
Either way, So, it's definitely interesting, to kind of revisit some of those a little bit. So, well, it's been about an hour, so we better get off. But, thank you very much to Richard Quinn and Mana Metro and Niagara Latina and, of course, the Shepherd and the Knucklehead. When they're up and running again, it'll be a good time for a beer with them.
Yeah, and they do takeout now. If they do, check them out for takeout.
That's right, yeah.
There's a lot of restaurants are open. All restaurants right now are still open at all. They're open for takeout only.
Right, indeed. So yeah, check them out. And till next week, may your favorite teams win.
Well, unfortunately, there aren't any games on to really see your favorite team win. So
yeah.
Until next week, kind of just may everyone really stay safe and healthy.
That's right. Yeah. And you've been listening to Three Amigos. So, and John hopefully will be back next week too. So he was working.
Yeah, he's been working some crazy hours, so we hope to have him back.
Yeah, indeed. Right. Have a good one. Bye for now. Have a good one. Bye for now. Have a good one. Bye for now.
The Shepherd the Knucklehead celebrates two of man's greatest pursuits, craft beer and a hot meal.
When it comes to craft beer, they're all in. An incredible lineup of beers on tap, fed by rows of kegs in the basement. And they double down with a menu of apps, soups, seafood, and butchered on-site steaks. Everything scratch-made, local ingredients whenever possible.
Great place, great food, unbelievable beer selection, friendly staff. Can't go wrong.
Craft beer, cocktails, food, classic and creative. Something for everyone. The Shepherd and the Knucklehead.
It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com.